I'm Josh with Waupaca Community Media, and today we're joined with Aaron Jensen from the city of Waupaca and Ron Sari from the Waupaca School District. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, terrific, Josh. Thanks.
Good, Josh. Thank you.
And definitely a lot going on. And the first thing we're going to talk about are a couple things going around the city. And the first is we've got a new 56-unit apartment complex coming our way.
Yeah, this is something that the plans were passed through a few months back, actually earlier this spring or maybe even in the winter, Josh. But it's out on Highway 54 heading towards Plover, kind of across from Foxfire Golf Course. It's the Timber Ridge Apartments. And they already have a number of units out there. They're kind of developing that area a little closer to the highway. So we are excited about that. We just had a groundbreaking ceremony a week ago Monday, so about a week and a half ago. They'll start construction. They're looking to start really moving some earth just in the beginning of September. So that'll be 56 units of housing opportunity for people here in the city of Waupaca, and we're excited about that. That's market rate housing. So really anywhere from about $900 to $1,200 a month is what we're looking at for price point there. And yeah, we're excited about that.
How many bedrooms is that, Aaron?
They have I think they're primarily 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. Okay. They may have 3, Ron, too. That's a good question. I can look into that. And if anyone has questions, I'd be happy to answer that.
Yeah, that's great for families that want to move into our school district.
Absolutely.
Another thing going on with the city is the Park and Recreation Department is doing some planning work, and they're updating something called a CORP plan. So what does CORP stand for in regard to that?
CORP stands for Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. And that is actually, so I'm going to touch on 2 things here. So they're going through their CORP plan. That's done once every 10 years, I believe, if I remember right from my Park and Rec days. It plays an integral role in helping get grants for projects, which is of the utmost importance for that quality of life stuff. We talk about that all the time. There's a lot of opportunities out there, but that plan has to be in place. And we want that feedback from our community on what's important to our residents when it comes to our outdoor amenities, our parks, our facilities. So that's on the Waupaca Park and Rec website right now. And a little kind of incentive to get on there and take the 10 minutes to fill it out. There is a drawing for $50 chamber gift cards. So I would encourage anyone to get on there and kind of help give your input and help shape the next 10 years for our Parks and Recreation plan.
And speaking of parks, there is a movie in the park coming up that's kind of like a drive-in movie to keep people safe.
Yeah. It's a cool thing they're able to do. Typically, we've had, I think, 2 movies in the parks in the summer, 1 in the beginning and then 1 in the end, kind of June and August. With the crowds and the COVID, and this one looks a little different. It's going to be at Swan Park. It's going to be kind of like an old drive-in movie. You can tune in to a station on your radio, listen to it in your car. Everyone's going to stay in your car, view it through the windshield. So it's going to be set up kind of on the sled hill there at Swan Park. It will be free admission. So anyone who wants to come out and enjoy that, that's Friday night at approximately 8 p.m. They try to just time it up for when it starts getting dark enough to play that. The other thing, I think there's going to be a food truck there starting at 6 or 6:30. So there'll be that option as well. So if you're looking for something fun to do with the family, it's something different that you don't get the opportunity to do all the time.
Do you know what movie it is, Aaron?
I think it's Sonic the Hedgehog, the newer Sonic the Hedgehog, I believe. That's interesting. There's, you pick movies, and the licensing for all of them is crazy. You can't just pick anyone you want, but I know that one, yeah, it looks kind of cool. I think Jim Carrey's in it and some other kind of notable people, so it'll be fun.
We just got past one election, and we're a couple months out from the big election coming up. And one of the things the city is looking for are additional poll workers. So why should someone get involved in that, and how can they get involved?
Well, we're just going to get all the city ones out of the way, aren't we? We'll move on to the school district after.
We're saving the best for last.
Oh, come on now. Yeah. So poll workers, we have, elections are coming up in November. We still have a couple months, but this past spring with all of the COVID complications, we struggled to get poll workers for that primary election. We anticipate the same thing. A lot of times our poll workers have been doing it a long time. Some of them are of that age group that might be at a little higher risk. And we anticipate shortages in poll workers. So if anyone has an interest, or maybe you've never thought about it, but want to help out in a certain way in your community, we encourage you to call City Hall, 715-258-4411. Ask for our city clerk, Sandy Stibbs, and she will take all of your information down, and we can maybe work you into a training or two before that November election date. And I did it, actually, to be perfectly honest, Josh, I did it last April for the first time in my life. And there's nothing to be scared of. You work with wonderful people. So I encourage anyone who would consider it to give us a call.
And not only is the city looking for poll workers, but one of our community organizations is looking for some volunteers, and that is Foundations for Living. And you've been in touch with them about some of their needs to support our community.
Yeah, I've had the good fortune of talking with Wilma Akright. She is the director at Foundations for Living. We've also had conversations with Chief Ozell, our chief of police, and we've kind of just brainstormed on the challenges we're expecting in that realm of their needing volunteers too. I mean, when COVID hit last spring, just for some background information, that warming shelter opens November 1st and it closes April 30th. So it doesn't operate during the summer. So we're coming up again on their opening date in November, and they know they're going to be needing volunteers. I think they've told me that they typically have like 50 volunteers that cycle through there. They dropped all the way down to like 5 when COVID hit in the spring. So you can imagine how busy those 5 people were. So ultimately, we want to be able to say our community has a place and has that option for people. But if we don't get the volunteers, we'll have to come up with alternatives. And right now, we're just trying to make a big push, and we're trying to make a big push in partnership with Foundations for Living to help get those volunteers. You can contact Wilma at Foundations for Living, and I apologize, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but if you're interested in volunteering, there's a lot of different options, and there's different times of the day, so I think they can be flexible. But I just wanted to put that plug in there too.
And as we get closer to fall, that means school is just around the corner, and things keep progressing week after week, how things are going to be structured this fall and how things are going to work out. And Ron, I know the first goal the school district has is to stay open and to keep people healthy, and you need the help of the community to accomplish that.
Exactly. Our goal all along as we plan for the opening here on September 1 is to open up in person as often and as long as we possibly can. We're in the teaching and learning business, and that's our top priority. So that's what we want to do. But we need the help of the community. The reason that we had to go to an AB schedule for our 7th through 12th graders was because we were directed from our county health official and our medical advisor because of the increase in COVID cases that started in mid-July through the end of July. They said, for our population, 7 through 12, we have to put this AB schedule into place. So I guess I'm just asking the community we need our students healthy, we need our staff healthy, and we all can be part of keeping our schools open by just being safe and helping reduce the spread.
Another thing we've talked about the past couple weeks is a reminder for our families to get registered for school this fall. And we're past that deadline. You're at 83% response rate. So you still have some people that need to get finished, because that helps you plan how fall is going to start. Are those students going to be home? Are they going to be at school? How's the staff going to be allocated to handle those students? And having the remainder of that input's vital to completing that task.
Yeah, we're almost on the home stretch, with the 83%. So it's past due. We just ask, please do it. We're making calls ourselves to those who didn't, and we're asking them to please finish this process by registering. Those who we are not able to get a hold of, they're going to be assigned to the in-person. So that option for learning this year.
The school is in process of taking some additional steps because of COVID to help keep students and staff and families safe and create just a safer environment. And one of those is an additional school nurse. And then you've got some new equipment you're installing at the schools that's pretty exciting. That's really going to go a long way to help keep the air in the building clean.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people think that all we're doing is, you know, with the mask requirement, the physical distancing, and the frequent hand washing are the only three things that we're doing to mitigate and ensure higher levels of safety. But this additional nurse is really going to support and help us as we work with kids that are ill. We work with families. There's still going to be, you know, the nurses still have all the normal duties that they typically have, and then on top of that, all of this COVID piece. So this additional nurse, it's on a 1-year contract, but she's really gonna, I'm assuming it's a he or a she, that ends up getting the position in the end is really gonna help us out. The other one that we're very, very proud of, I guess, we really want to help people understand this, is called a Needlepoint ionization system. So it's a system that goes into the HVAC air ducts, and it's very low maintenance. All you do is plug it in. And what it does is it shoots into the air and into our air handlers positive and negatively charged ions. And they take the hydrogen out of all pathogens. So out of viruses, bacteria, you name it, allergens. It takes the hydrogen out and effectively kills them. And so all of the tests and the research shows when this system is put into the HVAC ducts, 100% of those pathogens are eliminated. So, you know, we're looking at this as a long-term investment, not just for now because of COVID, but in our seasonal flu that takes place every year, the common cold. We really believe that this is going to significantly reduce absences for students and staff. You know, we stumbled upon this, Josh, by thinking about, okay, the CDC says that we have to increase our air exchange. And that's all fine and dandy right now because it's hot outside, it's warm, but in the winter, we're not going to be able to keep a 40 to 48% air exchange. Normally it's like 10 to 12. And so we've increased it right now to over 40% to be in compliance.
Heat all that.
What's that?
You have to turn around and heat all that air that's coming in all winter.
Yeah, and that and the fact that it's going to create condensation and we're going to have freeze ups, it's just going to really. So as we were trying to figure out how do we address it, we stumbled upon this, and the White House implemented this going on 6 years now, I believe. From the previous administration put it in. The U.S. Air Force and Army have adopted this. Johns Hopkins University, several big name hospitals, Boston University. I mean, there's just a laundry list of all of these organizations that have implemented it. So we are too. And it's another layer of safety that we're putting in place to ensure that our kids and staff, give them another, increase the odds of staying healthy.
It's definitely sounds like a cool project, and you know, it's going to be useful for years to come, and hopefully some of those other advantages you talk about work out really well. Another topic is Wednesdays are going to be the all virtual days for all your students, whether it's students that are going to be there every day or on an AB schedule. And that Wednesday is still a meaningful learning day, but it's set up, it's a chance for your staff to kind of get things worked out for the different groups of students they're working with, maybe to connect with some of the virtual students and to get other things done. So tell us kind of the philosophy behind Wednesdays as we get into the school year.
Yeah, as we continued to focus on what learning is going to look like, and we have in the elementary, we've got our students cohorted in the 7th through 12th. We've got our kids on AB schedules. We started working with our teachers and how that looks, and to be able to provide them with the adequate prep to teach not only remotely, but on demand remotely, you know, live remote, and then the on demand, and then the in-person. We need to provide them with some extra time. And on top of that, we've got our virtual learners that may need help, may need some engagement. and then our in-person learners that may need help. So the teachers are then on Wednesdays going to be able to schedule these virtual meetings with their students, asking questions, helping them, getting them caught up, that type of thing. On top of that, they're going to be able to do some common planning. And then in the afternoon, they're going to be able to get into their PLC groupings like we have been every Wednesday afternoon for a couple of hours and do their target-based grading work that we've been engaged with for several years now and we continue to work on. So, you know, if it were all left up to me, we'd be in school all day, 5 days a week. But as we continue to listen and get the input of a lot of our stakeholders, we learn and realize we have to do some things a little differently. And this is one of them. And we really think this is adding to learning in 2021.
And the last thing we want to tell you about is how the school year is going to start out. It's going to look just a hair bit different than other years. And some of the reasoning that you're going to start the school year a little bit different is just a chance to feel things out in a smaller group, just kind of test how your new processes are working out and to get prepared. And you're going to be starting out a little bit staggered this year.
Yeah, a couple of things, Josh. First is school is really the in-person learning is going to look a lot different than it did. It's not just kids coming in and just having masks on and staying 6 feet apart and washing their hands frequently. I mean, it is going to look a lot different from lunch to hallways, stripes on the floors so that you one way on one side of the hall, one way on the other side. I mean, I could talk to you probably for an hour on all of these things that are different. But as
Maybe
we continue, what's that, Josh?
Maybe next week.
Okay. I'll try to be quick here. This soft start idea came from input from our stakeholders as we continue to dig into the weeds of, well, how are we going to do this? And we know that there's going to be some hiccups because we've never done this before. We've never used Schoology before, that LMS system. We're learning as at the same time the students and the parents are. So the idea was, okay, how about we just bring in certain groups of kids on certain days that first week so that we have more hands available. If or when those hiccups take place, we can problem solve quicker. It also gives us an opportunity to test and give trial runs to our routines and procedures that we've put in place and try to work the bugs out instead of having all of the kids there that would be scheduled to come in.
Well, it sounds like you're planning with the school and getting started this year keeps moving on and keeps getting developed week after week. And I wish you luck to get things started and having a safe school year. And it really, it sounds like the work you've done and your staff and stakeholders has been pretty thorough and well thought out and some good ideas in here.
Yeah, we're working hard. I appreciate that luck that you're wishing. We will take all of your luck and prayers and help that we can get.
So, well, Ron and Aaron, definitely a lot going on in our community, a lot going on to get ready for school this fall, and we will talk again next week to keep the community up to date.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Have a good one.